to have a seat, and then I'm going to tell you to stand. We're going to start out with music, so would you stand and sing with me? It's a blessed day. It's a blessed day in the morning. The sky is blue, the sun is bright. It's a blessed day, and everything's all right. It's a blessed day, can't you feel it? Within your heart, God's love is true. It's a blessed day, you know God lives in you. It's a blessed day, will you share it? Upon your face now wear your smile. It's a blessed day, come walk with God a while. Come walk with God a while. Next is the joy of the Lord. The joy of the Lord is my strength. 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 If you want joy, then live in gratitude. If you want joy, then live in gratitude. If you want joy, then live in gratitude. The joy of the Lord is my strength. He giveth living water, and I thirst no more. He giveth living water, and I thirst no more. He giveth living water, and I thirst no more. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Verse 1 again. The joy of the Lord is my strength. 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 And then strength. Through Christ I am steadfast and strong. 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 You sound so good. Next, we're going to join hands and sing the Lord's Prayer. If you're new to our congregation and you're not a hand holder, you can just politely decline. It's okay. Nobody will mind. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. here comes Reverend Cindy to do the announcements.
Good morning. You can see that the Gia Pet is back in the house. Just a reminder for those of you who are new, don't reach to her, let her come to you. She's still a little snarky, and there are times when she goes Cujo on me. And she just moved, so she's a little discombobulated, and she hasn't been here in a while. So just don't reach for her, let her come to you. Other than that, she's a pretty good girl. She's a little brat, but she's pretty good. So is there anybody here for the first time? Or the second time? There you are. Hands up over there. Hi, ladies. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Where are you from?
I'm from
Belgium. You're from where? New York. You go to the big Unity of New York down there? Oh, you need to go there. Oh, yeah, right downtown Manhattan. My friend Britt Hull is the senior minister there, and they have all of the people who are on Broadway are in their choir. It's a serious music ministry there, so you'll love it. Where are you from? Finland. Well, welcome to the United States and to Modesto, of all places. Let's see, next month, it's wisdom. Wisdom is the power for next month. It is the ability to evaluate, to discern, and apply what you know. So the color is yellow. We need some brightness around here, don't you think? And the location is the pit of your stomach. And so join us next week as we dive into wisdom. The 12 Powers class has moved from the second Sunday this month to the fourth one, which is March 24th. You can drop in for $15 if you so choose. The annual rate is now over, just so you know. New daily words are in the bookstore. Okay. Lent is coming, and so I'm going back to Unity Village, and I'm going to try and see if I can pick up the Lenten booklets. So if you really want one of the Lenten books, you can download them for free on your computer. But if you want a hard copy, if you would let Laura know so that I know how many to get, that would be really, really helpful. And then I'll get what people tell me and add a couple, okay? Up with People. How many of you are familiar with Up with People? They're coming to Gallo. Gallo? Right? Yeah, they're coming to Gallo. They've been around about 50 years, and it's a program for young adults from all over the world to come together, learn about each other's culture, and work as a team, touring the planet with their musical performances. They are in Modesto this year and will be performing at Gallo Center for the Arts on March 22nd. Is that what you're with? Yes. Oh, yay! We didn't even know, and we got the flyers out. There's flyers in the back. And if you want more information, you can go with upwithpeople.org and find more information or talk to the ladies after service. They will be happy to let you know. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So see how divine order works? We didn't even know you're going to be here today, and we were already promoting it. Okay, so we have a suggestion box in the back. And Laura and I kind of crack up sometimes because we take the suggestions that you put in this box pretty seriously. We bring it to the board, we talk about it, all those kinds of things. However, one of the things that we need is specificity. So if you're going to put something in the suggestion box, we need to know specifically what you're talking about. Better communication didn't tell us anything. We don't know where we're missing the mark. Is it on our website? Is it on our Facebook page? Is it in the monthly thing that goes out? Is it in the bulletins? So if you could be really specific, you don't have to put your name, but if you could be very, very specific about your suggestion, that would help us out a whole lot. And then we could take the suggestion, because otherwise if we don't understand it, we kind of have to just go, Okay. Somewhere we're missing the mark, but we don't know where. Okay. Shasta Song Concert on March 24th, 6 p.m. right here. We are welcoming Anton Miserak and Laura Berryhill as they present an evening of Celtic songs. So the suggested offering is $10 to $20. And if you haven't heard these guys, they have some really beautiful, beautiful music. This is a perfect opportunity to ask your non-churchy friends to come and spend some time with you in this place, and know that we're not gonna preach. I'm not preaching that day, just so you know. Well, I will in the morning, but not that night. There are flyers in the back table for that as well. And as we all know, our ministry, our movement is founded on prayer. Myrtle Fillmore started the whole thing by writing letters of prayer to people who wrote to her asking for prayer. And we are steeped in it at Unity of Modesto, and our prayer pilgrims are here to share prayer with you. So on duty today is Reverend Nancy and Margaret, and if Gary's needed, he'll be here as well, and anybody else in the room who's taken a prayer class can pray with you. So please make sure, if you want to join the prayer ministry, so we have two things that happen. So we have the prayer ministry, the prayer pilgrims who are here in Sunday service, and then there's a prayer ministry that happens at home. How many of you are on the home prayer ministry? Look at the hands. So we get everything that goes in the prayer box. We get those names, not the conditions or the situations. And we get them every week from Sharon Casey. And we hold these people in prayer at home. No phone calls needed. You don't have to interact with anybody but God. So if you are interested in joining that aspect of our prayer ministry, see Reverend Sharon. And it's on to you. Be good.
And if you want to be a prayer pilgrim, see me, or see Margaret, see Nancy, see Richard, and we'll brief you. There's two aspects. One is praying before or after service if somebody needs that spiritual support. So yeah, you're one-on-one with somebody doing a prayer. And then there's the calling aspect, where we call all of the congregants and friends who have said, yes, please call. And once a month, we call and offer you spiritual support and do whatever. And it's all done on the phone, not face-to-face. And you can do one or the other, or you can do both.
Many of us let it go to recording so that we can have the prayers on our phones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we can't get you and you have an answering machine, we will leave a prayer, a brief message that in support. And of course, you all know you can get a hold of us through the church anytime you need it, no problem. So that's what we do. But for today, the 24th of February, 2019, I'm still not used to reading 19. I have faith that I am divinely guided. And today I consider the path that has brought me to this moment. Looking back at past situations, I now see that seemingly insurmountable obstacles held rich new opportunities to allow my Christ self to guide my every choice. Divine guidance is never withheld and is more rewarding than any scenarios my mortal mind may envision. Now, just as I encourage others to actively seek enlightenment from their inner source, I remind myself to do the same. Spiritual guidance is readily available to me and to all creation through a divine connection. Through spirit within, my perspective changes and possibilities become reality. I have faith that I am divinely guided. And Psalm 32:8, I will instruct you and teach you the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eyes upon you. And then we have our, not up there. There it is. This is the February affirmation. Take a couple of seconds, 5 or 6, to read it to yourself. And together, read with me. I have the strength to accomplish all that is mine to do.
In the back of the room, we have our prayer box. So you can write down anything at all that's concerning you. There is no size that doesn't matter. Something small, something large. It may seem something absolutely unsurmountable. It's on the other side of the world. Doesn't matter. That energy and love and power and healing strength that is God is everywhere and doesn't look at size, but simply acts. There is just the one power. That one power that holds together every atom and molecule, holds together the vast universe. Whether we call it God, energy, love, it is a power, and it works all the time. So we align ourselves with it right now, knowing that it is in, through, and around us, and we align with it, we focus it for healing and good. And we're ever so grateful that it's always working for good, always healing in one way or another. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen.
We're now preparing for meditation. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my get ready, my soul. So as we ready ourselves for meditation this morning, I invite you to clear your lap. And if it's comfortable, to close your eyes. And allowing yourself to drop into the depths of your soul. And breathe. Take a deep breath with me. And release it. And one more time, breathe in. And let your shoulders drop. Wiggle your neck a little and let the tension drop out of your body. Sometimes we forget as we move to get from place to place that we tense up. And as we center ourselves in meditation, it is time for us to let go, to relax, and to allow. So I invite you to focus your attention at the center of your brain, the center of the faculty of faith. The color is blue. And as you breathe in, allow that color of blue and the energy of faith to surround you. Let it fill your head. Drop down over your neck and your shoulders. And down into your arms and your fingers. Allow it to drop down your back, your front, into your seat. Let it flow into your legs, upper legs, lower legs, and to ground itself into your feet and into the ground, and to breathe. And every breath you take, let the color of blue and the power of faith expand beyond your physical being. Allow it to move sideways and up and down and forward and back until you are completely enveloped in this beautiful energy of faith. And breathe. And now we drop our attention to the small of our back. The color here is green. And as we breathe into the center of our back, the center of strength, allow the color of faith to just gently focus in the center of strength. And as you breathe into this space, allow the color spring green to rise up. Rise up your spine with every breath to the top of your head. And allow this color of green and the power of strength to fill your head and flow down into your neck and your shoulders and your arms, down the front of your torso, down the back of your spine, and breathe, continuing to breathe. Allow it to move into the seat, down your upper legs, into your lower legs, into your feet, and grounding itself in the earth, and to breathe. The power of strength is with us always.
And as we continue to breathe in and out, you can cycle your breath and cycle the colors between strength and faith until they combine into a beautiful turquoise and expand them out from your body. Breathing. Knowing that you are one with the divine with every breath. And seeing yourself as a part of this cycle as we move gently into the silence. Take a deep breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And allow your awareness to move back into the room. Take another deep breath. That went very deep, that one. Good morning. How are ya? Good. Well, we're finally getting settled over at my house. More boxes have been unpacked, and the dogs have got their pattern of barking centered around who drives in and out of the neighborhood. So, I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. How many of you remember I Dare You and I Double Dare You and I Double Dog Dare You? What movie? Christmas Story. Christmas Story. Yeah. Or real life. Yeah. You know, on the playground, growing up with, 13 boys and 2 girls on the block, there was a whole lot of daring and double daring going on. Now, what I'm going to talk about, the talk title comes from this book called Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. How many of you read this book? How many of you read anything by Brene? I'm reading her backwards. I started with Braving the Wilderness, and then I went to this one, which was the one just before Braving the Wilderness, because that's how I found it. And the reason I bring this up is Brene takes a view on strength that I had never thought before. And it's about vulnerability and shame, and how they play a huge role in who we are and how we walk through the planet. Now, shame is one of those words we don't talk a lot about because it's shameful to do that. And how many of you want to be vulnerable? Not a hand goes up. Okay, so we're going to give you some insights on that today. So our scripture today is from Philippians chapter 4, verses 12 through 13. And it says, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. I can do everything through him who gives me strength. This is not a really deep scripture. This kind of pretty much says what it is. There's not a lot of metaphysics in this. However, I do want to remind you, since it's our last Sunday on strength, about the definition from the Revealing Word. And the definition says, strength is the energy from God. It is freedom from weakness. It is stability of character. It is the power to withstand temptation, the capacity to accomplish. Strength is physical, mental, and spiritual, and I would also add emotional. That's my thing. All strength originates in spirit, the thought and the word spiritual expressed being the manifestation. So strength has a lot of stuff going on in it, does it not? And basically what the scripture is saying is that we have all known need. True? Anybody here not ever known a need? Okay. Anybody here known plenty? Yes, absolutely. Even if it's just a little bit of plenty, like good and plenty. We've known plenty. We've known contentment. How many have known contentment? And how many of you have known discontent? So we move through the spectrum of this scripture all the time. That's life. Because if we were doing this all the time, we would be dead. Seriously. If you look, I mean, you go to the hospital and they've got the thing going, they're measuring your heartbeat. It goes up and down, does it not? If it goes this way, you have what's called flatline, and you have ceased to be physical on the planet. You might be somewhere else, but you are not on the planet any longer. So Brene Brown, in Daring Greatly, talks about vulnerability. And how many of you like being vulnerable? How many of you are comfortable with vulnerability? Yeah, I noticed my hand didn't go up. She says, now take this in, if you can be vulnerable, you are strong. Breathe. This is going to be a breathing talk, just so you know. Just keep breathing. Vulnerability in and of itself is not good or bad. It just means you're living your life. Because in new situations, in circumstances you're not familiar with, or even those that you are familiar with, sometimes you just get to be vulnerable. Because that's the only way you can get through whatever it is. When I was grieving my dad, I had no choice. I had no choice but to be vulnerable. It was the only way I was going to get through losing my dad, who was my best friend. So there is strength in that. She also says that by allowing yourself to actually be vulnerable, it's a sign of strength and courage. Because it takes strength and courage to be vulnerable, and vice versa. So it's a cycle of vulnerability gives you strength, and strength gives you vulnerability, and you open to all the possibility. She also says that we need to do something called build a resilience to shame by understanding shame and expressing it. How many of you are comfortable expressing your shame? We all have it. Every one of us has experienced shame. Have you not? Anybody in the room not experienced shame? Because I need to talk to you if you have gone through life without that. I mean, it's as simple as, how many of you have said, shame on you? How many of you heard shame on you growing up? My mother can still do the shame on you without actually saying shame on you. Catholics, pardon me, but I come from a Catholic background, are really good at this. Which in essence means shame on you. You're not giving me what I want in the moment I want it. And my mom, I love my mom, don't get me wrong, but she has this knack of doing things. It used to be verbal, now it's through email. So I get these one-liners. I guess I'm inconsequential now. And what I realized is it's her cry for help and attention. It's not to shame me, although I used to take it that way. And I would either send her a scathing email or delete it. I still sometimes delete them. But, because if there's nothing to respond to, there's nothing to respond to. But I can almost see her doing this. Because that's how she is. I mean, that's just my mom. But shame is something we've always been really, really afraid to talk about. And it's something that is important to us because if we're going to grow spiritually, we have to understand shame. We have to understand the triggers for shame, and we have to understand how being vulnerable allows us to move out of shame and into strength. Breathe. So the less we talk about shame, the bigger the hold it has on us. It's like those secrets, you know, those family secrets that are in the closet? You know, the ones that nobody talks about but everybody knows about, sort of, kind of, but not really. The secrets get bigger because nobody talks about them. And the shame around whatever it is gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Shame disconnects us. Because when we feel shame, we do this. We go inward. We disconnect from those we love. We disconnect from ourselves and the truth of who we are. We disconnect from the world around us, and we become numb or neurotic or both. And shame, so how many of you have goals? How many of you have met all your goals? How many of you have set goals so high you can't possibly reach them? So what if I'm operating here comfortably, but my goal is here uncomfortably? How long do you think it's going to take me to hit this and be comfortable up here if this is where I'm comfortable? There's shame in this gap. There's shame in that. I have set myself such a goal that there is no possible way I can achieve it, which creates more and more shame in my scenario. Brené Brown says this: shame is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love or belonging. Take a deep breath, because I'm going to read it again. Shame is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love or belonging. Breathe. So would it not be in our best interest to not live there? Want to know how? I have solutions. So the first thing we're going to talk about is something called shame resilience. So shame resilience means that we need to take a look at what shame is for us, because it looks a little different for everybody. Know what the triggers are around that shame, and be aware of what they are, so when they show up, we can bless it and say, kind of get behind me, go away. So, my mom's one-liners, sometimes I get, spiritual people don't do that. That was the first one I got after I was ordained. It's like, we don't? Are you sure? Have you been watching the news, Mom? And I just kind of went, oh, and that's her mindset. That's her shame. And I just kind of looked at it. I had to laugh because I don't own that one. But there are others that she does that I do own that I have to work through. So when we understand shame-based thinking and the shame triggers that we have, then we can deal with it. And then we can move past it, move through it, and change it. So think of something that shames you. Can you do that? Where does it feel in your body? Pit of the stomach, right. That's usually where shame hits. It's the pit of your stomach. Sometimes it hits to such a point that we can actually expel things from that area through another organ in the body. We'll not go into the details on that. So what we need to do is watch our self-talk. So when some situation comes up, we have to be mindful of what we are saying to ourselves. Are we buying into it? Or are we just noticing it and letting it fly away like a feather? It's not an easy process. It takes time, it takes work, trust me. We need to practice critical awareness. So remember the goals? So maybe if I am operating here comfortably, maybe I need to drop down to here and say, okay, I'm going to set myself a new goal. Rather than, how many of you are former smokers? How many of you went cold turkey? I did too. But for some people, it's that gradual Shantic swing, where they have to learn new behaviors to get off of the cigarettes. So the goal isn't here, it's here. And when you get here, then you go here. When you get here, then you go here. So we need to have a critical understanding of how we measure our own worth through shame. We need to reach out. Are you sharing your story? Or are you just holding it in? Now, reaching out could be a trusted friend, a therapist, a minister. It could be anybody. Trustworthy. Somebody who will honor your feelings. You can't just go into the grocery store and blurt it out at the cash register unless it's Diane. Because if Diane were there, she would listen. She'd back up the line, but she'd listen. We have to speak about our shame with other people. Because it's in speaking the shame that we make it lose its power over us. We have to ask for what we need. So when shame hits you, I have 3 things for you. Practice courage and reach out. Phone a friend. Email somebody. Text somebody. Whatever medium of communication that you have within you, you need to reach out. Call the office here. Call one of the prayer pilgrims. Call Silent Unity. If you can't get anybody else on the phone and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, call Silent Unity. Trust me on this one. Number 2. Remember that self-talk? How many of you have negative self-talk? I'm not good enough. You're stupid. You're fat. You're ugly. I mean, come on. Pick one of those. Somebody has had one or more of those at any one time of their life, including she who stands before you. A friend of mine said, we all need to talk to ourselves the way we talk to our pets. The little love muffin there. Including tone of voice. If you've ever noticed me talking to the dogs, I don't speak to them like I speak to each one of you. They're my little love muffins, right? She a pet? So we need to speak to us like that. You're such a good girl. You're so beautiful. Little boogie bud. So we need to speak to each other the way we would speak to ourselves the way we would speak to somebody who's hurting and needs comfort. That's how we need to talk to ourselves all the time. And lastly, we need to own our story. See, here's the thing. If we deny, repress, suppress our stories, they become secrets. And they just get to live in that edition all the time. But if we own the story, that gives us the strength, the vulnerability, and the power to change the ending, or the middle, or even the beginning. Because it's our story. We don't have to let what was define us now. And that takes vulnerability, that takes courage, and that takes strength. Carl Jung. How many of you know Carl Jung? Anybody? Yes. Okay. Carl Jung said, I'm going to leave this with you. This is our affirmation today. It is in the handout that I gave you. Most of this is in the handout. He said, I am not what has happened to me. I am what I choose to become. So say that with me 3 times. I am not what has happened to me. I am what I choose to become. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. And one more time with zeal. I am not what has happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Have a blessed week, everybody. Here's the book. This is in the bookstore, by the way. Or you can borrow my copy.
What would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed, would the wind always fill up my sail? How far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where fools and dreamers dare to tread, and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where fools and dreamers dare to tread, and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? the voice of courage whisper in my ear. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave?
Margaret is always so good at just kind of honing in on what I'm talking about. So our offering statement, take your love offering into your hands, hold it lovingly, bless it, and offer this statement with me. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
And please join me in singing My Gift Goes Forth. My gift goes forth on the wings of love, and it lands where it may heal and bless. It returns to me, multiplied a thousandfold, as the universe says yes, yes, as the universe says yes. My gift goes forth on the wings of love, and it lands where it can heal and bless. It returns to me, multiplied a thousandfold, as the universe says yes, yes, as the universe says yes.
And we know that God, source, universe, whatever name we give it, always does say yes. So when we put it out, we know that we will get it back 100-fold. It is multiplied, pressed down, rolled up, and spread out. And we here at Unity of Modesto are a part of that universal giving and receiving. So we give thanks humbly for all the gifts that come into us, and hold in prayer that we are good stewards of this as we send it out to the universe, which always says yes. And so it is. Amen.
And now we're going to join hands and sing the peace song, and then we will close with a prayer for protection. light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.